Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Victoria with Redmond Mag and I'm so thankful for you joining us today. The topic of today's webcast is how to optimize Microsoft security to build a custom security program, sponsored by Proficio. Before we begin, just want to cover a few housekeeping details. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please make sure to type those into the Q&A box and we'll get them answered for you. Proficio has also provided some resources which do correspond with today's event, so please take a moment to check those out. They're located to the right of your audience console. Also, today's webcast is being recorded, so make sure you keep an eye out for a link in your email to rewatch the presentation or to share it with a colleague. And now I am so thrilled to announce our speakers for today. We have the pleasure of hearing from Victor Golub, Proficio Microsoft Sentinel Services Global Lead, Cybersecurity Architect, and Nicholas Gibson at Proficio Solutions Engineer. So we're in for a great event, and with that, I will pass the time over to Victor and Nicholas to get us started.
Thank you, Victoria. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our event today, our webinar. And let me share my screen so we can start. So I hope you can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so that's very good. So today we're going to talk about, actually, let me bring up the agenda slide. So today we will going to cover 8 main topics for this event. So we explain who are we, like we will be like talk about Proficio. Then we will touch the topic of Microsoft cybersecurity reference architecture, just a brief overview. We will also touch the topic of importance of zero trust and why we are bringing this into this webinar. Also, we are going to speak about Microsoft Security Solutions native integration and the benefits it gives to its users. Also, we are going to talk about security operations architecture based on, Microsoft reference architecture. Also, we will deep dive into Microsoft Sentinel Cloud and on-prem architecture. We talk about how to optimize this solution from architecture point of view, how to optimize this solution from pricing model, and we also tell how we can help you guys with all this journey to Microsoft security services and solutions. So with this, let me just start about Proficio. If you can.
Yeah, fantastic. So good morning, everyone. Glad to be here today. I'd like to introduce you to Proficio, who we are. We're a managed detection and response services company. We pride ourselves in being the inventor of SOC as a service, and we architect our solution for MDR based on our 3 global security operations centers in San Diego, Barcelona, and Singapore. We have various service delivery models with professional and managed security services. And as Victor mentioned, he is the global lead for Sentinel services. So we have a dedicated team of engineers that support a wide variety of customers and a variety of industries, supporting those customers in Microsoft Sentinel. So we're glad to have him here today. It's just a little bit about who we are and what we do, and the expertise that we're bringing to the table today. So excited to be here, and let's get this kicked off.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Nicholas, for explaining this to us. So let's kick off our webinar with overview of cybersecurity reference architecture, and let me actually use my laser point to highlight some of the very important stuff here we will concentrate about today. So as you can see, like Microsoft is doing a lot of security. Actually, like Microsoft is using like umbrella approach to cover probably like, if not all, then most of the security solutions or attack vectors available at the modern IT, in the modern IT world. But we are concentrating today or focusing today only on the security operations or SOC side of this reference architecture, which is all about Microsoft Defender XDR and or about all about SIEM system, cloud native SIEM system, which is Microsoft Sentinel. And we will touch those services today during the presentation, but mainly we will focus on these areas. The reason I'm bringing this in just to highlight the importance of unified approach, right? And to show you that Microsoft is a really kind of focusing on cybersecurity, like taking this to the next level with this unified approach. So when we speak about cybersecurity, we would like to have it both proactive and reactive. And so zero trust is something that modern cybersecurity should based on, because zero trust principles, which is verify explicitly, use least privileged access, and assume breach, are the core 3 principles of zero trust. And that corresponds very much with all the proactive security, because if you have like security operations center, security operations center can concentrate on like only on reactive responses, but also can bring you insight on proactive responses, and that's why we we'd like to highlight this as well. So in terms of Microsoft, so there is a NIST framework, or the NIST kind of zero trust framework, right? And here we have like a mapping of Microsoft security services based on the NIST zero trust framework. So we have like endpoint security here. We have like identities, which is kind of the most important thing among all security services and products, because like identity should be like your new security perimeter, not network anymore, nothing like that, because of the cloud expansion and everything. So like also some other stuff. So Microsoft did like a really good job mapping all these cybersecurity services they have in their portfolio to the NIST zero trust framework, and that's why we have like services for threat protection and services for identity security, this Entra ID rebranded Azure ID, like services like Defender for Endpoint, services like conditional access, which is crucial for securing your access and access management to all your resources. And yeah, so this is really crucial services. And if we would like to see everything, so Microsoft has also this stack of technologies for threat protection, which is called Microsoft Defender XDR, and those services are like very advanced, and those services covering basically all of the aspects of zero trust kind of picture. So yeah, with that, I would like also to touch that unified approach to security at Microsoft is something you can really benefit from, because so these services can cover basically can integrate up to 40 categories, as you can see on the screens, but also it can cover security of not only Microsoft security solutions and products, but also like hybrid security. So meaning like your thanks to Azure services, you can bring your on-prem infrastructure to cloud and make it compliance with your compliance policy, company compliance policies and everything. But also you can manage your AWS and Google Cloud services with Microsoft security tools. And we are talking today about this holistic approach because I would like to highlight the importance of this holistic approach and the integration that Microsoft Services has built in, right? So because when we are talking about integration, when we have different vendors for different purposes, they are not very much talking together between themselves, right? They are not very much, communicate or exchange telemetry or everything. And we use also to think that Microsoft Sentinel has native built-in integration only with threat protection services. but that's not the case. You see, like Microsoft is building, security services and solutions really tightly integrated between each other, and that is something we really can benefit from because of these signals or telemetry exchange, rapid telemetry exchange, like real-time or close to real-time exchange of telemetries. One example I can give you is when you have like some, unknown malware, which was sent to one of your users to the inbox of your users, and that malware just was unnoticed by your antivirus or whatever solution you use, and someone is just open it and it just got activated. So user behavior analytic on the endpoint will will analyze behavior of that actions taken by user by different processes, and it will be classified as a malware probably. But as this malware can be sent over not only to your one employee, but to many of your employees of your company, right? So like these services can proactive get rid of this attachment even for those employees who have not opened it yet, right? So it means like this is the importance of communication between the tools, and this is what Microsoft Services gives you. So when we talking about where is the theme here? So we have different defender stuff. First of all, we have when we talk about threat protection, right? We have like Microsoft 365 Defender, and Microsoft 365 Defender, just not to confuse with the namings, it's all about protecting your data flow, like your SharePoint, Teams, emails, etc. But it's also about protecting your endpoints, whether it's like regardless of the device type, whether it's like a laptop, a server, like a mobile device, a mobile phone, or whatever. It works everywhere. Also, it detects compromised accounts, abnormal user behaviors, and behavior and everything. And it also has in their portfolio CASB solution, which is all about shadow IT services monitoring and shadow resources, like data flow exchange and everything. But that's not only Defender that Microsoft has in their portfolio. It's also about infrastructure monitoring. So for infrastructure monitoring, there is Azure Defender, right? So there is a difference between Microsoft 365 Defender. Those services are primarily to user interactions, like user actions or whatever, right? But Azure Defender, it's all about infrastructure security. It's all about databases security, network traffic monitoring, like prevention, like Azure Firewall, everything, containers monitoring services, VMs, and so on and so forth. So as you've seen already, Sentinel is something that is, we have here Azure Sentinel, but it's kind of rebranded name. Now it's Microsoft Sentinel. It used to be Azure Sentinel. So Sentinel is bringing those signals together and enrich it with own AI, own analytic rules, use cases, and everything. And it also can bring signals from different cloud sources, third-party solutions and services, and everything. And you will see everything under one umbrella, under one hood, let's say. So let's take a look on security operations flow from point of view of Microsoft reference architecture, because kind of we are talking today about Sentinel and Microsoft 365 services, Azure Defender, and everything. So that's why we are checking perspective of security operation service based on Microsoft reference architecture, right? So we used to have analysts and hunters, which helps organization to catch different vulnerabilities, different cyber attacks, and so on and so forth. And their mission is actually to continuously improve and reduce attacks and mitigate attacks and everything, right? So also we have here different data sets. So we have here information flow, we have different our SaaS applications and other stuff. devices we would like to take an eye on or monitor, right? Identity solutions, different platform as a service solutions, infrastructure and apps like our cloud apps, legacy apps, everything. And also we have like different maybe third-party security solutions, which is our firewalls, for example, proxy solutions, VPN solutions, everything, right? So we would like to have everything monitored by a SIEM system, because it's like a central console, where our central system, where we have all the signals from all our, from all our services in one place, and we can build correlation engine to trigger incident each time we detect something suspicious, etc., etc. So we can, use our classic SIEM system, which is mostly recognizable are ArcSight, QRadar, ABM, or Splunk, or whatever you may use, maybe even some, some open source solutions. But then you need to process all that raw data with the security and activity logs and you need to build a lot of, detection rules, use cases to detect any abnormal activity, any user behavior deviations from a normal patterns, etc., etc. So how does Microsoft services fits into this kind of IT architecture? So first of all, before we even touch the Sentinel topic, there is XDR suite, and XDR suite is those two defenders I've been mentioning already. It's Microsoft Defender XDR, which is Microsoft Defender 365, which is covering all that kind of collaboration, let's say user-based collaboration tools and services, right? Which is CASB solution, like EDR solution, identity protection, and so on and so forth. And we have also Defender for Cloud, which is all about infrastructure security. So like considering these services are already covering all of this infrastructure and all of these applications and services, what we need to do is basically get insights from those services, right? And this is exactly what we are doing, because kind of when we uncover like a little bit more, we can see that Sentinel has a native built-in integration with this XDR tool set. And you can bring already correlated events, correlated like alerts that has been triggered by those defenders to Sentinel. And you can get enrichment of those alerts by analyzing other third-party security and network tools you have in place in your organization. That is how Sentinel, which is cloud-native, not cloud-hosted, but cloud-native SIEM solution, differentiate itself from a classic SIEM systems, right? And you have also like case management here, you have built-in SOAR, you have built-in behavior analytics, machine learning algorithms, and everything. And you also can use integration with MSSPs providers like Proficio to help you manage this. And we will touch the topic of managing SIEM a little bit later today, but like the key outcome of this is that like you need to have someone who is capable of managing all of these solutions like a single unified solution, right? And there are tools to do that. So let's move on. So let's take a look a little bit on architecture of Sentinel itself. So first of all, you need to understand that whenever you set up a Sentinel in your environment, you are using it. It's been set up in your tenant, right? So everything that is inside Sentinel tenant, it's your own. You own this. You own the data. You own everything. It's SaaS. It's pure SaaS service, right? So it has a data storage, which is Azure Monitor. So Azure Monitor using like log analytic workspaces to logically segregate or separate your data in a like container-based environment. It has like some automation built-in user interface, rules to process everything, and machine learning algorithms to enhance everything, right? So you can use different means of connectors to integrate different log sources to your actually instance of Sentinel. And here you can see a variety of kind of everything, right? So you can use cloud native integrated solutions. You can use a branch office approach and bring over your data to Sentinel using like syslog over TLS or express route. You can use a CEF or a syslog connector to connect on-prem signals. You can use Logstash to enrich, aggregate data. You can use agent-based collectors to collect from your endpoint devices, and you can use also APIs to connect with any solution that has a possibility to get data through APIs. To touch a little bit the topic of for on-prem data collection, so there are two options. First option is to use like Linux machine within your infrastructure, where you can have your log sources in the same network segment preferably, and collect everything and transform everything inside Collector VM. Collector VM is it's basically a Linux machine where you have like rsyslog or syslog ng services enabled, and it's just getting data, filter out data on this stage, right? Transform it to their like readable format and send it over to log analytics agent, which is something that help you get data into your Azure Sentinel workspace. So that's on-prem. That's when you have a log collector located within your on-prem infrastructure. But what if you don't have like a possibility or don't have a kind of resources to manage that log collector on-prem? That's not a problem. So you can place this log collector in Azure and just forward all your log sources from on-prem to Azure. That's the only difference here is you have to open access to internet to Azure services from your on-prem data sources, which sometimes can be tricky. So that's why you have this option to place a collector VM inside your on-prem infrastructure. So that's the difference. So Logstash. Logstash is a very powerful open source data processing tool that's a part of the Elastic Stack alongside Elasticsearch, Beats, and Kibana. So it's primarily used for collecting, processing, and forwarding data for analysis. And the main advantage of using Logstash is it can aggregate data from multiple sources simultaneously, and it supports like a wide variety of inputs, including logs, metrics, web applications, data stores, and various like cloud services. And once data is collected, Logstash can transform and enrich it before it send it to a stash like Elasticsearch or any other. And it could also derive structure from unstructured data. It has like a variety of plugins, but the real benefit of using Logstash, you can optimize your data ingested to to Sentinel by anywhere from 5 to 25 times. So there are like scenarios where you can literally optimize the data flow or reduce the data size ingested to Sentinel like up to 25 times compared to unprocessed, unaggregated data flow. And yeah, that's can be very useful when you when you're working with, for example, like a net flow, which is like a numerous amount of data, and so on and so forth. So talking about like data transformation timeline. So first of all, you need to parse your data, then it goes normalization process. You also can filter it, aggregate, enrich, and everything. And so Sentinel used to have kind of custom tables to store all your kind of custom data, which is not a part of standard tables. For those, we used to see a suffix called CL, custom label, right, for all the data in Sentinel log analytic workspace. So, but now Sentinel has Sentinel has something which is called DCR based custom logs API, which is used to define table schema, and also data might be ingested to either custom or standard tables. So it is much richer capabilities. So, and if we take a look on the DCR data collection rule, it basically there are two types of these DCRs. So, for example, one is standard DCR. This type is currently supported by Azure Monitoring Agent or custom logs workflows. And there is also workspace transform DCR, which is special kind of DCR for workflows that do not support standard DCR. Its limitations: only one per workspace, can contain separate transformation for each table, and unfortunately, not all tables supported, but it's still a good chance to define your own, custom table schema and place your logs even in a standard table when you want them to be stored in the standard table. Because before that, your only option for a custom logs were like custom tables, but not anymore. You can use it now to store your data, to place your data in a standard tables, right? Okay, that's a little bit on the architectural side, but what about pricing? What about optimization? What about optimizing solution for your company so you not overpay for it or use it efficiently, right? So first of all, first thing you need to keep in mind when you talk about Sentinel is that it's cloud native system. It's not cloud hosted as many other SIEM systems. It's cloud native. It's pure SaaS service, so software as a service or solution as a service, right? That's first, and it's thanks to that, it has limitless scalability or almost limitless scalability. It has, everything related to SaaS, which is good or bad, but it's still SaaS. Also, it has no upfront cost, so you can start using it without any investments, upfront investment, right? So you can start using it from day one when you set up as a service inside Azure. Okay, so Microsoft is charging its users based on data ingested to Sentinel, but it's not so easy. It's very tricky. To be honestly, if you can ask me, one thing what is most tricky part of using Sentinel is licensing. It's a kind of understanding how much it will cost your business to run the system. But here is a good thing. We at Proficio has a very great experience, very great hands-on experience with calculating budgets, with calculating, cost of ownership, with optimizing things, with optimizing data flow, with filtering out noise and everything. So we can help you guys with building up optimal solution for your needs. And we will talk about that a little bit later as well today. So main key points of pricing model of Sentinel. So there is data ingestion, first of all, right, which is being ingested into Azure Monitor Log Analytic workspace. And there are also different tiers of that. So there is commitment tiers, which you can see on your screen here. Those are just for references. It's can vary from region chosen and your agreement with your cloud solution provider or Microsoft or anything. So that's just for references. It's not like a final. That's just to make it clear, right? So also pay-as-you-go available. So as you can see, when you're ingesting about 100 gigabytes per day, it's automatically suitable to opt in for first tier, and then you will have fixed price for this solution. You will have a discount basically compared to pay as you go. So if you take a look on this different key aspect of a price, so you can see that first of all you will pay for a data ingestion. Then second, you will pay for data processing. So not all data that has been ingested to log analytic workspace will be processed by Sentinel. And that's a separate kind of, separate consideration to keep in mind. Also, data retention. So data retention for every data is free for 90 days with a max 2 years of retention, kind of in a hot storage, if you use analogy with hot and cold storages. So like maximum data retention for hot storage in Sentinel is 2 years. With the first 90 days is free. And there is also something that is really reasonably or relatively new to Sentinel, which is basic logs. I will discuss this on a later slide, but maximum lifetime of this data is only 8 days. You will see why is that on the following slides. And archived logs. Archived logs is something you can refer to as cold storage analogy. It gives you like maximum 7 years. But if you will ask me, for example, okay, but we have like, okay, that's great, but you have like a compliance regulation in our company to keep data for 10 years or so, right? So where do we go from that? So I have a good answer for you here as well. So you can actually place your logs, which you require to have like more than for 7 years. You can place them in a blob storage. Azure Blob Storage is a very good place to have those logs, and you can store them for as many years as you potentially want to keep them, right? Okay, yeah, and some also things to consider when you calculating budget for the solution is the search and restore jobs, and some logic apps, for example, pricing as also should be considered. So with all of that, so here is how it could look like potentially, right? So first of all, there are two types of logs: analytic logs and basic logs, as you've seen on the previous slide. So basic logs is something that has reduced support of KQLs. KQLs is a custom query language, which is basic language new language that was developed by Microsoft engineers to process enormous amount of data in the near to real time, right? So it doesn't it doesn't support detections. So you cannot base your detection query or detection use cases based on basic logs, but where it could be useful, it can be useful for threat hunting, for example, right? For storing, for example, netflow logs, can be stored for up to 8 days, and it is like it's really reasonably cheap compared to full analytic logs, because you can see that price for log analytics analytic logs is like a lot more expensive compared to to basic logs. So you can consider this basic log for like your NetFlow or other types of logs. Also, you can calculate if you use your data restore based on these examples. You can have a general understanding how much it will cost to you, and so on and so forth. So this is just to give you like a general overview how much the system can cost you to run it. Okay, how to optimize it? Okay, so we have now a general understanding how this system works and how much it can cost potentially to you. So there are a variety of services and approaches you can follow or guidelines you can follow to optimize the total cost of ownership of your solution. First of all, free trial. So when you first activate your Microsoft Sentinel instance, you can have your data ingested up to 10 gigabytes per day free for the first 31 days. And you can also, if you have already some log analytic workspaces in your environment, you can add Microsoft Sentinel as an add-on to that, because that's exactly how Sentinel works. You just basically have log analytic workspace in your environment. It can be existing one. It can be like you can create a new one for this purpose, and then you just go ahead and activate Microsoft Sentinel to work with the data that is, inside this log analytic workspace. That is exactly how Sentinel works, architecturally, right? So that's one way of optimizing. Another one, if you are a customer of, if you have like in your licenses Microsoft 365 E5 and other 5 licenses, right, like the premium ones, you can benefit from 5 megabytes per user per day free data ingestion into Microsoft Sentinel. So that is something, the data sources that include in this offer can be like Azure Active Directory sign-ins and audit logs, which is all about identities and access management, right? Also, Microsoft Cloud Application Security, which is CASB solution, which is something to, to work with your Shadow IT and discovery logs. Also, information protection logs and Microsoft 365 Advanced Data Hunting. So that is something that you can utilize to lower potential costs or reduce your budget for the solution. Also, as you've seen on the previous slides, there is a Microsoft Defender, which is some threat protection tool to secure your infrastructure. And when you use it, you can benefit from free ingesting or non-billable data ingesting up to 500 megabytes per node per day. Per node per day is when you have like a web server, database server, or file server, application server, whatever server you have. It's not like count toward physical servers, count toward virtual server, basically per node per day, 500 megabytes. And from our experience, in most cases, it's basically a non-billable monitoring of your nodes. Qualifying tables are listed here on this slide. So it's kind of where you can optimize as well. And last but not least is always free data sources. So Azure activity logs, everything that is, someone deleted resources inside your Azure subscription, someone created resources, someone moved, renamed, did any other administrative activities like created users, assigned elevated roles to some users or whatever. Those all you will get it for free regardless inside Sentinel, right? So also Office 365 audit logs, including SharePoint activity, Exchange admin activity, and Teams are also, you can get it for free to your Sentinel. And alerts from all those defenders, you can see on your screen, also going to be free. And that is when you take a look on, basically, when you take a look, I want to really quickly get back to this, this slide, when you basically have everything protected by Defender XDR already, right? So all those signals that Sentinel will get from Microsoft Defender will be, non-billable data. That's a very valuable advantage, right? Okay, let's try to do some kind of math here, to estimate. So how to get the gigabytes per day number? So if you are migrating from other themes that capture EPS or gigabytes per day, right? So EPS can be easily converted to gigabytes per day with the formula. You can see number of EPS which multiplied to number of sizing in bytes, then 24 hours daily, 60 minutes per hour, 60 seconds per minute, and divided to this number. So you will have kind of that's the formula that allows you to get gigabytes per day from EPS, right? So, but if you don't have a general understanding how much EPS or gigabytes you will be ingesting, so for example, for Azure AD, you have estimated numbers. There should be supposed to be a link to official docs, and for Azure Pass resources, it could be very easily estimated during a trial period, right, which we mentioned already. And for Microsoft 365 Defender Advanced Hunting tables, we can use this query to estimate how much data we will be ingesting, right? So how to kind of estimate the ingested volume of data per infrastructure. So you can have like different types of servers, Windows, Linux, network equipment with different types of workloads. And we have a table with, kind of averages event size in bytes. Then we have like also EPS. And from there, we can estimate how many we will be ingesting per day in gigabytes, right? So we can use some simple calculations to do that. And simple scenario, so let's take a look on the simple scenario. So probably like, let's say typical ingestion, it's like 550 gigabytes per day. About like roughly 20%, which is about 100 gigabytes of those will be web proxy logs with a very low, actually, regardless of like scenario, in most cases, it will be low security value in these web proxy logs, right? So it can be, really placed into the basic logs. Also, we would like to keep logs easily accessible for 90 days, right? And move cheaper storage after that up to 365 days to more affordable, and some search. SOC experts would like to search for ISCs in long-term data, like about average 4 times a month, and search across 1 week worth of data, right? And also average once a month, we might need to restore a full month's worth of archived data as a part of investigation for up to 2 days. So basically, when you go to Azure Calculator, it won't give you a very nice breakdown of how many gigabytes, how much it will cost you, etc. So for this purpose, you would probably better use Excel, and because like for like when you start archiving data, it won't take, so you won't be charged for like 15 months in this case, right? So it will be accumulated data with the time. So that's how you basically estimate how much it will cost you to get 15 months of data archived. So it's not so like straightforward with a calculator as it could be. So that's why we can use Excel to actually break down those expenses. And so for search and restore cost in this scenario, that's also very easily to calculate, and it will cost you like about this amount of numbers, search cost, restore cost. So this is something that you need to keep in mind when you build up your SOC operations model. How to optimize this even further? So we talk about built-in benefits, right? So free data sources, Microsoft Sentinel benefit from M365, some free 90 days retention periods, etc., etc. I would like also to highlight the topic that logic apps, based on consumption or based on pay-as-you-go, has a free first for 4,000 actions included, or free 5 gigabytes per month included when you use pay-as-you-go. So it means that some enrichment or other playbooks which you can execute on a daily basis will be even without any anything you will pay for. Also, you need to plan and manage for log restore and log search. You can leverage some codeless connector for platforms. You can work with your ingestion retention, filter out sources, select the appropriate pricing tier, utilizing basic logs and everything. So what I would like to say here, there is a really huge complexity here, and you need to be really kind of know what you're doing. And if you do not know, you can lose your money very easily. That's why we at Proficio really know what to do, how to help you optimize cost of ownership of the solution. And you can be rest assured that we will be calculating everything for you here, and we'll suggest you different optimization solutions during the onboarding phase, and you will be able to, get it in the most efficient way. So if to summarize, ingest only what you need, right? So do not ingest everything with just like you probably did with on-prem SIEM systems. Also filter out at the source level, so you can, for example, check or configure the events that you would like to stream to your based on like event ID or the category. Also, you can create a kind of data collection rule to collect only the events that you will be analyzed, and that is a kind of recommendation here, right? Also, we can use filters on the syslog or CF messages level. Those are just examples. How can we, filter out something that is not required for the SOC to analyze, and that's how we can, optimize log flow ingestion. Logstash. I love Logstash. Logstash is something that's really can make a difference. So it's not only about enrichment. It's about optimization of the log flow. It's about aggregation. So when you start using data aggregation, you will understand that, for example, maybe you don't need each request to each IP address or to each DNS address from your users or from your web application or whatever. So you can, for example, have it aggregated. For example, this event happened for the period of 5 times, like for 5 minutes, it happened 200 times. But you don't need to stream all these 200 events. You just need to stream one event and say how many times over the period of time it happened. And that's how you can greatly, like 5 to 25 times, optimize data flow ingestion to Sentinel. That's something. Basic logs, as I told you, a great way to to include high volume, low value logs in your, security operations center architecture and benefit from that. It's a very good way of optimizing budget. Also, do not forget that you have like a possibility to retain your data in a low-cost model, so you can archive your data after interactive period free interactive period will expire. You can use archive to store your data up to 7 years in general, and then use blob storage, if Azure Blob Storage, if you use to extend that period even. So when your data placed in archive, when your data archived, it doesn't mean you can't use it. You can use it with using a search and local store function, but just be very careful what you do, because it can be very tricky, and it can result even in more cost if you do not, not doing it correctly in the way it should be done, because those typically a huge volume of data, and which could result in a huge billing afterwards. So as I told you, we at Proficio know everything about that, so we can help you navigate in this world. Commitment tires is some very good way to get a discount. So as I told you, there are logs ingested to log analytics, but there are logs processed by Microsoft Sentinel, and those are different options, different kind of flows. Not everything that you ingest in log analytics will be processed by Sentinel, and that's why we have like different pricing tiers for, and different commitment tiers, different pricing options and discount options for each of these services. And you can save for data processing up to 65%, and for data ingestion up to 30% when you use commitment tier. Microsoft Sentinel benefit, I've touched this topic again, and this Defender for servers plan to include this 500 megabytes free data ingestion per day. So how can we help at Proficio? First of all, security is very challenging, and threat detection has never been easy. Threat detection has never been so hard to do as it is now because of varieties of assets, varieties of cyber threats, emergence of zero. Unseen before, vulnerabilities and everything. So, and the amount of false positives alerts we see in a customer's instances is overwhelming, and you need really like a lot of a lot of going on there, and you need someone to keep an eye on that. So you cannot have everyone. You cannot have like your employees looking at that, signals, you looking at those incidents 24/7 and everything like that. So it's very good idea to, basically to outsource this to a trusted partner, which has a competence, which has resources, and which has capacity, basically, right, to give you recommendation, provide you with remediation of detected cybersecurity incidents. Provide you with a guidance and basically guide you from the start point to the I would like to say to the end, but it's not the end. It's like a journey. It's a continuous journey. So you need to be like continuously up to date with the current trends in cybersecurity and everything. And yes, tune your use cases for optimal detection, and make sure you don't have recurring compromises due to lack of remediation of security controls and everything like that. So it's very important to have someone you can trust with. And like for what you can see with Sentinel, so it's a very powerful SIEM tool, but it brings also a lot of complexity, right? So from my experience, I have seen a lot of false positive events coming from defenders, from XDR stuff, and this is something we can work together with you to tune them, to reduce false positive rates, to focus on the real issues, right? And we also have in-house developed SOAR playbooks for enrichment, which help you basically to enrich your signals, provide additional context, provide recommendations. Our SOC for each use case providing additional recommendations, how to mitigate threats, can help you guide how to mitigate. It works 24/7 with with SLAs and everything. So it provides you actionable insights how to deal with your with the pain points, and how it looks like from a partner as as Proficio is. So as you can see, so in this setup, Microsoft Sentinel is client owned. So you own your everything, every log, everything you have in your tenant, it's your ownership. But thanks to Microsoft Lighthouse, we are able to provide you SOC as a service, 24/7 monitoring, and risk management and case management based on our ITSM's, ITSM solution and everything. So we can provide you help, give you help with implementation, manage SIEM, manage EDR, XDR if you have it in place. Also manage your security infrastructure and conduct risk-based vulnerability management for your infrastructure. And also very important to have an incident, detection and response in place. So we have like custom built active defense response SOAR as a service, which is available for your perimeter devices, for your endpoint devices, and for your identity. So we can proactively block or remediate some threats in your infrastructure based on the use cases we will pick for you together with you, basically, right? So architecturally, it will look like that. So you as a customer will have a subscription. Inside the subscription, you will have your own logic apps, you will have your own Sentinel, log analytics, and some identity integration with everything, right? But on our side, we will have like, Azure Lighthouse, which will help us to use cross-workplace incident view, which is basically something we are using to manage our customers' environment. And if we will go even further, we will have a syslog that will bring your on-prem data or any other solutions that you may use to your Azure Sentinel log analytics. And still, there is a clear separation between ownership of data and everything, and what partner can access, thanks to Azure functionality. So regarding the automated human-led threat containment and response, that is something also you can advance with Proficio. So obviously, security responder can work like it's 9 to 5 hours. It can be accessible on on call service or whatever, but no one is available to respond to compromises for usually like 16 to 48 hours, right? And in this case, speed wins. So we see that it takes about 5 hours for cyber criminals to deploy ransomware from initial compromise, right? And it takes like less than 8 hours. It is less than 8 hours breakout time from initial compromise to data theft objective for experienced bad actors, right? So our service we are providing, it's like less than 1 hour mean time to detect, and less than 1 hour time to respond and contain goal, right? So that's something we are helping you with. And we can see that 3 main attack vectors used by attack groups nowadays is a scan and exploit. So basically looking for vulnerabilities in an internet exposed system and exploiting them, right? Compromised user identities, very common used, attack vector, and phishing. Phishing is like also very common used techniques, and tricking individuals to click on something and compromise their endpoint with malware. So what we can offer to every organization is to use active defense for perimeter, for automated blocking of an attacker IP following threat detection, right? Also, active defense for identity, to automatically identification of compromised identities and suspend that identity from being operational, so from being active. And also active defense for endpoint. It's something that we can isolate endpoint from being active in the network and then remediate it on our piece. So, but there are also threats requiring automatic containment, and those listed on the screen. So this is something that needs to be done as soon as possible, which is not possible with a human, right? So that's why we are providing SOAR as a service, which is Proficio's active defense response, which can really speed up response to a most devastating, most critical cyber security incidents. And this is what we do to not only to our Sentinel customers, but we are also managing different EDR systems. We are helping customers to manage and to remediate within different clouds. Also, different identities supported, and different perimeter systems are also supported by our SOAR systems. So that's basically it. That's all for the that's all for the moment. Do we have any questions in the Q&A session?
Yeah, Yeah, thanks so much, Victor and Nicholas, for being on with us today. We do have quite a bit of questions, but we are all out of time. So what we'll do is we'll make sure to get those questions over to the team answered off the platform. So thank you again, Victor and Nicholas, for being with us today. Really appreciate it. Thank you to the audience for attending today's webcast. And of course, a special thank you to Proficio for sponsoring today's event presented by Redmond Mag. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.